Divorced dad, single dad, divorced dad, single dad, Peter G. Show.
Marriage.
What sparked that divorce for you?
He hit middle age.
Honey boo boo. Nah, honey boo boo. She can do it, I can do it. You're blessed.
Yeah.
He's on the line right here if you don't know. Just letting you know.
Freaking hate. You have to go through the grind and just punching in and punching out.
This ain't good.
That began, a really incredible run.
Peter's here. It's that time again. Ladies and gentlemen, Sunday, coming at you. I don't want nothing coming at me. Well, here comes that music coming at you. It's the official. Gentlemen, start your engines. How the hell is everybody? Can you hear me now? Great show for you tonight. I'm excited. I want to thank everybody for letting me vent a little last week. It's not easy being me. And I mean that. I get a lot of stuff on my mind, and sometimes I just got to take it all and dump the bucket. Feel a lot better after that, kind of. Oh, I forgot I got the banner running. See, I'm sloppy tonight. I was looking at things and I forgot. Tonight's going to be a good night. I'm going to have one of LA's finest musicians on my show. Long time friend. We don't travel in the same circles that much, but we've always remained in the circle. And he's going to be on the show tonight, Mr. Terry Wollman. He's got a podcast, too. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff. Going to cover a lot of ground because I'm basically going to play catch-up on this show with him. So, should be interesting. The time change. Did the time change? We hit, hey, Pete. I got my commenter starting to comment. I'm going to get to that in a second. Sorry, here I go again, all over the map. The time change. I forgot. Not a big deal, because most of the clocks, your phone, everything changes by itself. So I got this one little clock, old little clock that I keep and it doesn't change by itself. It's been one of those clocks like you just don't get rid of it because it's been around for so long. And I kept looking at that clock tonight. Needless to say, it was like, oops, I'm behind. Busy day, busy week. But now all y'all been, the minute we went back to the, got dark at 5 o'clock, everybody hates that. I get it. So now we're going back to spring. Enjoy while you can, folks. All right? Enjoy it while you can. Before you know it, we'll be bitching about setting the clocks back again. Anyway. Busy week. I have 5 different projects going on in my house. They're all small projects, but just enough to screw up the whole place. Can't get enough done. And that's the problem. I got too many things running at one time. And then there's this show. I like the show. Speaking of the show, I want to tell you real quick, because I could not be here if it wasn't for my beloved Bolt Energy. I'm going to have Pepsi and myself tell you about the show real quick, and then we'll get right back. So here you go. Hey, everybody. Peter G from the Peter G Show and my friend Pepsi right here. Hey, we're here to tell you today about my beloved Bolt Energy.
Bolt Energy.
Bolt Energy. Electrify your senses. Did you know that, Pepsi?
I did not know that.
Yeah, electrify your senses. Bolt Energy has no preservatives.
No preservatives?
No, and it's enriched with antioxidants and vitamins.
Antioxidants.
It's a cleaner energy drink.
Cleaner.
That's right.
Nice.
And, a couple little tidbits you might not know, because
Yes.
I don't talk about it very often, but the Apollo mission, Man on the Moon.
Man on the moon. To the moon, Alice.
Bolt Energy.
Moon.
That's right.
Electrify.
That's right. If you would have looked in their storage bins, what do you think you would have found?
Bolt Energy.
Bolt Energy. Ask for it in stores, Bolt Energy, and tell them the Peter G Show sent you. How's that?
Hey, Peter G.
All right. Peace out. Love you guys.
Peace.
That's right. Love you guys. Always love you guys. Very thankful. Appreciative. Bolt Energy, I'm appreciative of them. They know what I do, and they still support me. How's that? Go out and get you some Bolt Energy if you can't find Bolt Energy. And I'm screwing this up again. I'm just in auto mode. But if you can't find Bolt Energy, go to www.drinkboltenergy and ask the Bolt Energy people. Say, hey, where can I find this Bolt Energy Peter G speaks of? And they'll tell you. They're new. They're growing. It's not easy, folks. Nothing in life that you want, is easy. Well, some things that you want are easy. Going to the store and getting a six-pack, that's pretty easy if you have the money. But if you're going to do that, you might as well get some Bolt Energy, because that'll give you a little bit of get up and go, so that way you can do stuff. But I do like beer, too. Anyway, Bolt Energy people, they're workout fanatics. The reason why I really was digging Bolt Energy is because no preservatives. Go find that in an energy drink. You're not going to find that. And number 2, I'm going to crack the can open real quick, away from the equipment. Wow. It tastes good. I like it. Not a big giant can. You don't have to drink 40 million ounces. And you don't get all jacked up. It's a natural thing. A lot of people go, I don't really feel nothing. You know what? You felt like going and doing what you were going to go do before you didn't feel like doing it. And there's no crashes and things like that. So it's a big deal. It's all natural. And that's the way these guys roll. And I dig them for it. Bolt Energy. We'll talk about it at the end of the show. But thank you, Bolt Energy, for allowing me to be here. All right. Quick couple of housekeeping tips. Tips. When we say housekeeping, things about this show that have been happening, going on. And then we're going to get to Terry. I'm just finding out that while we're doing this new version of this show, we changed the format and how we live stream. Paul likes Bolt Energy. And this is my point that I'm getting to. A lot of people have been commenting on the show, and you can comment, because we're on, like 5-6 different pages. YouTube, 3-4 different Facebook pages, LinkedIn, all that kind of stuff. Live, when we're going live, I just finally figured out, because people were like live commenting while we're doing the show, and I'm going, I don't see your comments until after the show, and I don't know why. Well, I know why now. One word. Well, it's a compound word. Facebook. Facebook's got, they just continually screwing. That's why I left going direct to Facebook. That's why I'm asking you guys to go to YouTube and click the subscribe button on the Peter G Show, because I don't know what's going to happen in the future. But for right now, we're still there, and I want to still be there because I love my Facebook people, but just playing it safe. But the thing was, I just now found out if you're on the Peter G Gisella's page or the Peter Gisella's page, or I can't see your live comments. I'll see them after the show, and I always do. I look for them, but I couldn't figure out what was going on, and I just figured it out today, or it was just told to me that Facebook won't allow it. The only way you can talk to me live via text comments is either go to the YouTube channel, Peter G Show, and then you can comment live, or you go to the official Peter G Show page and comment live, and those are the only two I can see. The other ones, they just won't allow it. Now, I'll see them after the show, and we get to you within a day or so. I mean, it's hard. There's a lot going on, but I do get to you, which gets me to one more thing before I bring Terry Wollman on. Just got to get this off my table. I get a lot of IMs, and I love you guys. I do. You guys are my favorite lurkers in the whole wide world. There's no other lurkers I would want more than you guys. And I mean that in a loving way. But you know what I'm talking about. You guys don't call in. You love to watch the show and say, Peter, I love you, but I'm not calling in. I want to just watch. Cool. Totally cool with it. So you email me and you IM me and leave me messages and stuff like that. The thing is, I can't get back to you phone-wise that easily. Okay? It's just hard. I can't. I'll give you an example. Drum tech buddy of mine. We go back from the old days. Worked together for years. He's out here in LA. He's been a drum tech to the stars. He's retired now, kind of, sort of. I guess the whole music industry's retired. We're going to talk about that with Terry. But the thing was, he texted me in November, or called me in November. I missed his call. November passed. This is a guy I've known since I was 17 years old. A couple of years ago. And I text him later on. I go, hey, man, sorry, super busy. I'll get you a call when I finally get to sit down and things like that. But long story short, everything's the same. Nothing's changed. Well, I haven't called him yet. And I really do feel bad. That was November. But he's my friend, and my old friends understand. It's a hustle. I'm busy. I'm tired. I talk all the time. I love it, but I have responsibilities, and it's just hard for me to get on the phones and be talking. Business, I got to take care of. My daughter, I got to take care of. But chit-chatting sometimes, it's just hard. I love you. I do. But if I took every call that, and called you back, I'd never have time for this show. So just saying. Tell me what you want to talk about. I'll get back to you in a short text or something like that. If it's extreme, we'll talk. But just letting you know. I love you. I do. Very thankful for each and every one of you. It's just hard. And now I'm not big shit or nothing like that. But I'm telling you, there's enough of you guys, and there's only one of me. Speaking of one of me, Terry, you ready? All right. Get your game on. Get your game on. Ladies and gentlemen, listen, tonight I wanted to bring on, we've been batting this around and I did, Dan, I got your email. We'll talk about that, but I appreciate you doing that. See, now that's what I mean. It's, they told me you left a message and I had to let it go. We were in show mode. Okay. Terry Wollman, friend since the early 90s. I had moved here. And we're still in the same circle, kind of out of the circle, but we're still around. And finally, we've been kicking this around on and off for probably a year. And finally, I said, you know what? We need to settle this up. I want you to come on the show. And he said, gladly. So without further ado, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to bring ladies, and let me see what I can do here. Sorry. I should not be looking. And there you are.
Hey, Peter.
Yeah.
We did it.
Look at you.
I dressed up.
There was a time when I'd show up in a suit and people would look at me and go, how was court?
Right. Right. Did you get off?
Yeah, exactly. That's a stone cold truth. But
Did you get to keep your daughter? Right.
That was stone cold truth. Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce my friend. I'm telling you, we met in the early 90s.
Yeah.
Early 90s. And the way we've been able to stay in touch is because you haven't disappeared, nor have I.
Right.
you know, and that's a cool thing. But
you send me these great Christmas cards every year with you and your daughter, which I love.
They've mellowed out quite a bit since the old days.
Yeah, but I love them. I look forward to them.
You know what? And again, and I told you that was the big deal. Is like your address, because I've lost some people that I love very much too, like Dean Parks and all these guys that like were on the list because we cross paths all the time.
Right.
And but when you change addresses and all of a sudden it like goes return to sender, no forwarding address.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's like, it used to be, it whittled down from about 500 cards down to about 180 cards now. And because you've always maintained the same mailing address.
I've kept a mailing address. I got a P.O. box, like a business address when I first moved here, so that I had the feeling I might be moving around. And I wanted to have something stable in my life. So
I'm that way too. I believe in consistency because I don't owe anybody any money. And it's like, not that anybody's knocking down my doors, but if you wanted to find me, same email, same phone number, same, that kind of stuff, because I don't know. I'm wired that way. It's really important to me. But you've managed to maintain. Now, again, I have not physically seen you in God knows how long.
Yeah.
I mean, in person.
Right.
But we've maintained an acquaintance and through especially social media and stuff like that. It's always like, okay, I see what you're doing. You see what I'm doing.
Right. I follow your show.
Yeah. Right. And vice versa. And that's the whole thing. I'm going, wow, has life changed?
Right. Hasn't it?
Because when I met you, you were music director for the Byron Allen show. Mm-hmm. That's when I first moved to LA.
Right.
And
I did that for a little over 3 years, I think.
Okay. And he still has a show going on.
Yes, he does.
I see him late night because when I'm flipping channels and it's like, wow. And a lot of people going, well, who's Byron Allen? Well, I mean, this guy's been around and he's lucky enough to see he's still working. So God bless him.
Yeah. Great.
But the thing was, that's what you're doing. You're a musical director for that show. You had a band.
Yeah, I had a great band, late night talk show.
Yeah. And that was back in what, 92?
We started in my very first talk show that I did before that was The Late Show on Fox. The band was Jack Mack and the Heart Attack. And the reason I remember the year I did that was because that was 1988, because I have props. 1988 when I put out my first album.
Yeah.
And so a lot changed in my life. And, I put this album out. I was on the radio for the first time. And I got this call to music direct for a late night talk show with another band, Jack Mack, who I loved. And so
I love the band too.
Yeah, me too. So I did that for a year and got my TV chops as a music director. And then a year later, I ended up getting called to do the Byron Allen show. So I believe I started in 90 and we did it for 3 years.
I moved here in 91, like April 91. I probably met you the later half of 91. Mm-hmm. And as I didn't know, I really didn't understand the name game until I moved here, and
me neither.
Who played on what albums and this kind of stuff. I didn't realize how important it was. But let's take it back even further. Let's go to Terry Wollman. Where are you originally from? How the hell did you get there here? And how did you get your start? Because people don't know you, but you're a pretty, you're an A-lister. You're a jazzer, right? I mean, that's pretty much where the genre you're in.
But I consider myself a pop musician with a jazz background. That's how I feel in my heart. But my albums have fallen in the in contemporary jazz world.
Okay. So let's go. Let's take it back because I don't even know this stuff. I've never even asked you this. Didn't care. It was like we just knew we were living in real time. Well, how did Terry Wollman, start everything?
Born and raised in Miami, Florida.
Miami.
Yeah. So I was exposed to a lot culturally, sonically, influences from world music, which I didn't realize. I mean, I wasn't really paying attention. I remember my early references were R&B references sitting on the dock of the bay. That's the kind of stuff that I was drawn to musically, like a moth to a flame, actually. So I was really into R&B music, and of course all the pop and rock and that we all grew up on. And back, like I grew up in the late 50s, early 60s. So the thing is, music was not genre based on radio. That was the coolest thing. Like you would hear James Taylor, and then you would hear Sly and the Family Stone, and then you would hear Cream, and and then you'd hear David Cassidy or whatever it was, and or the Monkees, which were actually really great pop tunes. So anyway, I was exposed to a lot of that. I played various instruments as I was growing up. I started on guitar. moved to piano, drums. You didn't know that. I played drums well, I didn't play drums. I studied drums for about 2 years.
I had no idea.
No, we never talked about that. And then clarinet in junior high school, which was not my forte.
Okay.
And then, but kept piano and guitar and piano is my thing. And I was writing songs back then. But I was also I was in drama and creative writing, and I ran track. I was either outdoors, living a Florida lifestyle. My dad was a phys ed teacher, so we were always on our bicycles and swimming and water skiing or whatever, outdoors.
So you were like a prince. You played everything. You could play everything.
Yeah. I never had thought to compare myself to Prince, but yeah, I'm a multi-instrumentalist.
Because I had no idea. Again, I was going to ask you the biggest thing when I say multi-instruments, I see you play a lot of nylon guitar stuff.
Right.
What do you like? Well, the thing is, I think when I met you, and I want to ask you, did you use like Valley Arts guitars? Was that you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I had a Valley Arts endorsement, and I love those guys, and because they built amazing instruments, but also they were the first people I met them through Abraham Laboriel and Bruce Stone, and of course Larry Carlton was playing their instruments.
Okay.
But the thing is, they were the first company that I worked with that said, tell us what you want, what you're looking for in an instrument, and we will give that to you. We will, if we don't have it, we'll make it for you.
Right.
And I said, I don't know. Nobody's ever asked me that question.
Yeah.
And they said, well, then we'll start by you describing what it is that you're looking for, sonically and playing wise and everything. Right. And then we'll give you, they started loaning me guitars, and they said, they'd give me 2 or 3 guitars at a time to take home and use in the studio and use on TV. And then they'd say, let us know what you don't like about it.
Right.
And we'll just keep whittling away until there's nothing you don't like about it. And that'll be your guitar. Or I have 2 guitars. One of them's on the wall behind me, the black one. I think there's yeah.
There you go. Let's see. Oh, there it is. Okay.
Yeah, that's my Black Valley Arts that you used to see when I was playing on the Byron Allen show.
I don't remember, exactly, but I just, for some reason, I never heard of Valley Arts. Guitars, because again, it was an LA thing.
It was, and I knew about them because the studio musicians were using their guitars, and
there was a few people that
yeah, but they were great. I mean, that's when I really learned the art and the meaning of artist relationship, where both parties benefit. So, but anyway, so I've always played electric guitar and acoustic guitar. I'm really fond of acoustic guitar, and you had mentioned Dean Parks earlier.
Yeah.
And Dean, who's an amazing guitar player, it always encouraged me. I met him in 1981 when I moved here, working with the Crusaders, with Joe Sample and the Crusaders, and Dean basically really encouraged me to not only be an acoustic guitar player, because he said there's thousands of people who play electric guitar who are great. There's not a lot of great acoustic guitar players, and we need more.
Really?
Yeah. And he said so, and he goes, you're good at that. He said also, he really encouraged me to really focus on being a strong rhythm guitar player, because he said most people can solo. Not that many people know how to come up with a rhythm part and really just lay it down, lock it in. As a drummer, the value of just
groove,
just groove
in
a part, and playing the song.
Right.
Playing what's needed for the song. So, so it really sort of set me on a path the path that I moved out here to be on. By the way, I didn't just move straight here. I went to school in Miami, and then I moved to Boston and went to Berkeley and got a degree in arranging.
Oh, wow. See,
yeah.
I'm learning only 30 years later.
Right. Yeah, well, I never really talked about it.
No.
But the thing is, I feel like I went into Berkeley as a guitar player. I came out as a musician. I really came out rounded, because I always wanted to produce. I wanted to produce music. I wanted to be, you were talking about, the name game and the credits on the back of the album, but that was my goal. I wanted to tour with other pop and rock artists, being their guitar player. I wanted to be the guy that you'd flip over the back of the album and you would see guitar Terry Wollman, arranged by Terry Wollman, produced by Terry
Written
Wollman.
by Terry Wollman.
Yeah, written by
Played
yeah, 'cause
Terry
I'm a songwriter.
Wollman. Yeah.
Yeah. This thing about me being on the front of the album
Yeah.
was not my original plan. Yeah, I didn't even dawn on me that it would be something that I would consider doing. So I grew into that. It just sort of evolved and I was open to it. And
Gotcha.
some of that came about, by working in television.
I get it, but see, and a thing that I don't know if who's in this show, whether it's live or lives on after we finish the show. That's the beauty of this whole show. It actually builds like a snowball.
Yeah. And mine. Yeah.
For those who don't understand, I mean, you've worked with and still do. You work with the best of the best. You're not just like some guy who just happened to be. We're talking the best of the best. There's you've played with anybody who's anybody in this town/world.
It's been remarkable.
I mean, yeah, you're a really lucky guy. I mean, because everybody wants to strive to achieve that. Possibly, I mean, everybody wants to be a defining star. I mean, that's
Right.
we're going to get into that with your podcast and all that.
Sure.
But the thing is, you have. I mean, you're with everybody who's anybody. J.R. Robinson, Quincy's, or you name it.
Yeah.
You've been very fortunate. I mean, okay. I mean, because we all know. I mean, you could have all the talent in the world and still never achieve these goals.
Absolutely.
But okay. So you came into LA. Well, when you came into LA, how?
I drove out here in my Honda station wagon with my Les Paul, an acoustic guitar that I no longer have.
This is great.
My amp.
Yeah. What kind of amp?
A Champion juicer.
Champion juicer.
Juicer. Yeah.
I've never heard.
For
Fender?
making smoothies. Yeah, juice.
Oh, I thought you were a champ. A champ. I thought a Fender champ. I'm thinking.
No.
of.
I'm talking about like a kitchen appliance.
Why you were
This
into
is
health?
yeah, I've always been healthy. I've always thought it was important to be healthy, to exercise and
okay, all right,
and work out and eat healthy and not abuse. We get enough abuse from the outside. I didn't want to do it from the inside.
all right. But you drove out here, okay?
I drove out here, on a wing and a prayer and a dream, like all of us. Came out here. I wanted to be a studio musician, make records, and I wanted to tour with rock artists and pop artists. Being in their band, I wanted to be a sideman, and came out here. Pretty quickly found out that I couldn't get arrested. Took a job parking cars at the Playboy Mansion, 1981, for the first year.
How'd you get the job?
Great question. And this is what blew my mind. I really didn't know anybody when I came out here. My cousin Glenn lived out here. He was a doctor that I grew up with in Miami. And so I knew Glenn. But the thing is, other than that, the only other person I knew was one of the teachers from Berkeley College. One of my teachers had moved out a year before. I'm going to say it again. One of the teachers, not students, of one of the top schools in the world, music schools in the world.
To do what?
He moved out here to work in the music business. I called him to go, hey, I moved out. I wanted to say hi. And he said, hey, I can get you a job parking cars at the Playboy Mansion. And I said, I really appreciate it. I'm not really interested in doing that. He said,
I'm a musician.
Well, he goes, you might want to take the job. He was basically in charge of the car parkers.
Car parking. It's not all what it's cracked up to be. I mean,
no, it's not. But the thing is, it just kind of knocked the wind out of my sails. It was like a gut punch because I went, whoa.
You thought
wait
you were
a second,
and start playing music.
Yeah, and then I go, here's a teacher,
right, that
taught at the school that I was at,
right,
and he's involved in parking cars. Yeah. This is not good. But I also, I thanked him for the offer. He said, you should really consider it. And I said, I will. I ended up considering it and taking it. But I thought about it for a day or two, and I said, well, that's his path. And I understand what I'm learning right now very quickly in my first week of being here is that it's not going to be easy, but I'll take this job, but I'm going to do other things while I'm doing that. I'm not going to lose focus or sight of what my goal was and what I dreamt to do and what I trained to do, and why I drove myself cross country, first to Boston and then to here. So I took the job. And ironically, and of course I never said anything to him. I didn't want to be disrespectful because I respected this guy a lot. He was a friend.
Sure.
And he's offering me a job, and he was a great teacher. We were friends in Boston. So, and obviously a supremely talented musician. But I just thought, okay, I'm here on my path. Whoever else is here is on their path. And I'm gonna keep my eye on the ball. Out of parking cars at the Playboy Mansion, I ended up getting an audition for Billy Preston's band, and that was my first rock tour, was playing guitar for Billy Preston.
Wow. And you did it.
I did it.
Let me tell you, I feel I moved here 10 years too late. I should have been here in like 81 instead of
Maybe, because
I thought the business was thriving then. That was like...
It was, but when I moved here, I was told that it was over.
By who?
The Crusaders manager.
Really?
Yeah. Sid Garris, I met him because I ended up doing work with Joe Sample and the Crusaders, which was
I love
amazing.
Joe.
Me too.
And the way he's talking, listen at that shit. He's going,
oh, yeah. Right.
Listen to the way he plays that shit.
You knew Joe. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Joe, I'm so grateful.
He was cool.
He was really cool. He was tough.
Yeah.
But, coming up in Texas.
Yeah.
And playing playing the Chitlin circuit with the Jazz Crusaders at the time, with like fence between them. So because when people were throwing bottles at them,
that's a good old boy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But and I remember Joe going, this is where I learned how to really play, how to make people get up and dance, because we'd get the shit beat out of us if we didn't do that. But anyway, it was the Crusaders manager who, when I met him, he basically just said, "Why'd you move here? It's over." And he actually went on, and I saying, "This was what are you going to do? This is a waste of time. You missed it." And it's like,
no,
I can't help how old I am. This is how old I am. I grew up, I went to music school, the best in the world, and now I'm here and I'm ready.
Yeah.
And I don't need to be picked up in a limousine. I don't need cocaine. I don't need hookers. All the things that he was implying were over, because they were. That's not what I came here for. I came here to play music with the best people in the world. So,
everybody I know, you, Kim Bullards, all these people, they're all 10 years ahead of me.
Right.
And it's like, to me, the business was, even Dean Parks, the Southern California Hang, Mark Goldenberg, all these great musicians.
Yeah.
It seemed like that if you had talent, though, it was a wider, like in the late 70s, 78, 70, and if you were talented, there was room for you to step in and do something.
That's right.
And now,
no.
There's not even a business. Well, there's a business.
Yes and no. I mean, in a way, it's full circle because of social media, YouTube.
Yeah.
There are artists, Jacob Collier, for example. Like, if you don't know him, look him up. But I mean, he's this young guy in his 20s from England, and he started doing YouTube videos a few years ago. Now,
different way of making it now.
Yeah, but he's pure talent.
Right. There's a lot of talent out there.
But he got the attention of Quincy Jones and a lot of people, and Herbie Hancock, and
because as a writer, the residual income was the shit. I mean,
right.
David Pace. I remember when I was doing stuff with him.
Right, you were working with Toto, and
and I was, and it's like we were laying down tracks for a Scandinavian artist that I was doing stuff with David and JJ John Jessel, and I remember they redid like Dune, the movie Dune. They digitized it, and some orchestrator used it, and I go, or Puff Daddy is like, yeah, it's another $5 million in residuals.
Right.
I mean? Those days are gone.
Yeah.
Something they wrote 30 years prior or 25 years earlier that was still generating income. Now all that beautiful music, I mean, great stuff, talented to make the stuff. The money's not where it was anymore. You can't really rely on it.
Right. Oh, absolutely. No, it's everybody's got to have a side hustle and be multitasking or open.
Not even a Playboy Mansion to park cars at anymore.
Right.
I looked into it. I needed the job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, it was an eye opener for my first year. I saw a lot, and I learned a lot. And it wasn't very glamorous, because we were the help.
You were shit. Yeah, they just parked the car. and you still have you have to believe in yourself, and you're thinking it's like, what the hell am I doing? I'm I'm be a musician. This is just a side hustle. This is just something I'm doing. People ask you like, what do you look? When I met you, I had to get a job when I first moved here.
Right. Yeah.
I was delivering your gear.
That's right. You were doing car gigs. That's how we became friends.
Because my old drum tech, Mike Bessinger, back in the day,
Mm-hmm.
he started out doing that before he became drum tech to the Stars, Whitney, and all these people. And he's like, don't worry when you move here, because he moved here 2 years ahead of me.
Right.
He says, as soon as you get here, he says, don't worry, I got a job for you. You'll get a job. And I needed income. I brought money with me, but I needed to do something. But I
came with $1,000. That didn't last very long after I, like a down payment, for a deposit, a futon. As a matter of fact, I had to decide between a futon or an answering machine, and very quickly I realized I'm going to sleep on the floor for a month because I have to get an answering machine.
That's a lost. I miss a Spinal Tap commercial because of my answering machine.
Right.
Yeah. But the thing is, futons, those are a thing. That word is lost. I mean,
right. I had thought of it since
everybody had a futon.
Right.
Wow. This is great because I'm learning shit that I never knew.
But something, Peter, you're talking about, if you had come 10 years earlier. But the thing is, the people that were my mentors, in a sense, or the people that were doing what I wanted to do when I was in high school, that were already touring and playing with, the Bee Gees or, major rock groups or things like that, and doing recording sessions with Eric Clapton and all those people. Because growing up in Miami, I Criteria Studios was there. I saw Fleetwood Mac would roll in. I would see a lot of, I'd get glimpses of what it was I was dreaming to do. But the thing is, hearing the stories from those people, like you're listening to mine right now, it was even my perspective. Anybody who was here then who's got 10 years on me, you can correct me, but it seemed like then, like in the 70s.
70s, yeah, even more. I mean, but it's
like in the 60s and 70s, if you could play or if you could write a song,
right,
it didn't really matter. All you needed to do was just show up and tough it out. And pretty soon you'd be in Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, because you'd be, or you'd be playing with Joni Mitchell, or you'd be, like.
Okay, even more.
It was.
I'd be in, because I'm that old or young, but that'd be way before my time. I wasn't ready for that.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't ready for it either. But those were, again, I remember this one friend, Paul Harris, who's a keyboard player, played with Bob Seger and Bee Gees and all that. And basically, I asked how he got started, because he was like doing what I wanted to do. He was playing on records and getting calls to do tours and all of that stuff. He was a New York guy. He had moved down to Miami just to thaw out, essentially, and he was working with the Bee Gees a lot, so he was able to do that. But the thing is, he basically said he had moved to California from New York and was hustling and, doing like what everybody does, play demos and hang with people and everything. And he got a call because somebody had a cancellation. And it was like a last minute thing. Hey, man, we need a piano player. Drive to the studio out in Malibu, and he said yes. He didn't know anything more than that. Well, it turned out that it was a B.B. King album. The piano player got sick or flat tire or whatever the story was. And one of the songs that they cut was The Thrill Is Gone. And he played piano on that just because of happenstance.
Right.
He was here. Somebody knew him. He was good.
Right.
And then he had a studio career.
Right.
Just because he played on hit.
When you were in Miami, there was no Miami Sound Machine?
It hadn't quite started yet. I mean,
really? You missed it?
I missed it. Yeah, I missed it.
You could have been there. That could have been you.
It might have could have been.
As a matter of fact,
my friend John DeFaria ended up in Miami Sound Machine.
There you go.
Playing guitar.
Right there, you wouldn't have to move or nothing.
Yeah.
Save you the money, your $1,000. Yeah.
That's right.
And a futon, or you could have a futon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow.
So I kind of missed that. That started when I was in college.
Okay, so you got here.
I got here.
But here's the thing.
Yeah.
All these years, you've managed to maintain, which is not easy, and it. I mean, because let's face it, there's guys like real quick prior to the show, you introduced me to your wife real quick, right?
Yeah.
Melanie. So I'm thinking about it after we hung up, and I'm going, why the hell am I having you on the show? She's way prettier than you.
Oh, of course, yeah.
And then you said that because I know that she sang with Barry Manilow. I used to see a lot of posts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I didn't know Aerosmith and
John
Joe
Mayer, Joe Walsh.
So you got
a lot of people.
as a woman.
Yeah.
Because let's face it, it's a crazy.
John Mayer, by the way, John Mayer and Bette Midler. She was a harlot for 10 years. So yeah, that's
But
Melanie.
it's a crazy business, and as a
Yeah.
woman, you see a lot because it's a crazy business. So
It
she's
is.
got to have thick ass skin
Yeah.
and just be cool as hell because it is not
Absolutely.
easy. It is not
Yeah.
easy. But
No,
I
and-
thought about that after we hung up. I'm going, shit, dude. I'm going. She's like way easier on the eyes. I mean, you know,
Absolutely.
and I'm
Yeah.
talking to Terry. No, I'm kidding. But that
No.
anyway, that was funny. The thing is, you've maintained.
Yeah.
You've hung in there and and you've managed to keep things going. And my question, because there's been a drop. Never mind the
Oh,
COVID.
huge.
We're going to get to that. But the business dropped.
Yeah.
How do you maintain?
Versatility.
I know
just
you're up there, and because you at least it's like everybody calls because it's like they trust you. No, see, you're saying that
no,
maybe-
not everybody calls. I mean, there's an interesting thing too when you become an artist.
Yeah.
When your picture's on the front of albums and they see you on the radio and on the Billboard charts,
Yeah.
or when I was music directing those 2 late night talk shows, people think either you're too busy, you're not interested, or they can't afford
That's
you.
my problem. That's my problem.
Yeah, right. So which was really odd to me because it's like, I never was more interested or available or
Right.
able to do it. And I think that here's the truth. If all I did was play guitar, if I didn't know how to
Right.
songwrite, produce, arrange, conduct, be a podcast host, be a mentor, a teacher, if I was being limited thinking and just said, no, I'm just this, I wouldn't have been able to survive. I happen to love doing a lot of these other things, but I'm also open and willing to do some things that I might not love, but being of service, or things that might lead to getting back to what I really, really love doing, which is playing these instruments behind me and writing music. And
Which brings me back to the guitars. I've been seeing a lot. I see you playing a lot of nylon string stuff. Like classical or nylon string. So what is your favorite? I mean, what electric, acoustic, or nylon?
I love them all.
Okay, I know.
I really love playing electric guitar. I really love it, especially just like R&B and funk and pop music. I'm music directed for Wilson Phillips like 25 years ago.
I don't get
or
to
so.
see you do that much anymore.
No, I don't get those calls.
That's the same thing because I always wanted to play with Randy Jacobs.
Yeah,
He used to do the Bone Shakers.
that's right.
I love the Bone Shakers.
Yeah,
Funky as hell.
they're great. I
And
love them
believe it
too.
or not, for a white boy, I have a good foot.
Yeah.
And I always wanted to play because I'm going. He's like their pocket is like, and he's very demanding on drummers. Really. And the thing is, I never got the chance to go do that. But the thing was, don't judge this book by the cover. I swear to
Right.
God, But I never get to do that stuff because R&B is like one of my favorite things to play. But I just never.
Yeah, me too.
But
too.
I don't
And-
see you. I see you with recently you released a few things. You're
Yeah.
flopping that E string. That E string is flopping in that video.
That's right. Oh, that's right. Yeah,
That's an E string, right?
it is.
Yeah,
It
okay.
is.
I mean, I'm looking at him going, are you slowing that thing down or in the video or is
It
it
was.
just
It was tuned down.
okay?
That's why I did that.
It looked like it was bending. It was just like going past all the other strings.
Some of that just kind of happened with the filming of it, which was a surprise.
Okay.
And we thought, well, that's kind of cool. It is
Okay.
kind of visually.
It caught my eye because maybe it's a musician thing. But I'm going, look at that.
Yeah.
Look at that string. How
Yeah.
Joe Sample. Look at how he flops that thing.
Yeah, I was hitting it hard. But so as far as like I love playing R&B and pop music. So for me, electric is just
right.
it for that. However, I would say, and I love nylon, of course, as well. I really love nylon, but I would say steel string acoustic is probably where maybe I that might be my forte.
Okay.
Just because again, I love, by the way, I also really love it. And the reason is because there's nothing to hide behind when you play an acoustic guitar. It's wood and metal or wood and nylon. There's no
effects.
There's
And,
no effects. There's no delay, distortion. You know,
right.
it's you and a guitar, and it's demanding and revealing in a very interesting way.
Gotcha.
And which is interesting because you mentioned this video and this new album that I did,
Yeah, I checked it.
which is called Cassini's Last Dance, and it's something that I was actually right before COVID started. I had started a new band album, you know, with full rhythm section and horn arrangements and the things that I typically do with electric and acoustic guitar, and you know, a little bit, not
With?
a little bit more energy with
Who?
John Robinson,
Uh-huh.
Jr.
Yeah.
Luis Conte on percussion,
Yes.
Abraham Laboriel, and Will Lee on bass. Will Lee was in from New York.
Okay. I mean, you're just on different tunes?
Different songs.
Okay.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I was saying I started it.
Right.
Greg Manning on keyboards and myself on all the various
That's
string
what I mean. It's all the
instruments.
A-listers. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, it's like you have that. You can call them and they'll come a running.
Yeah, but that's what I moved out here to do. So like I did that
Yeah,
on my first record.
A lot of people do, but it just doesn't always work out that way.
You're
You know
right.
what I mean?
You're right. But
That's the ultimate goal, but it doesn't have to be that way.
you're right, and I don't take it for granted. I'm extremely grateful.
Yes.
But and part of what I'm grateful for is that the friendships that I've developed, like you were talking about, you and I being friends for a long time.
Right.
All of these people that I just mentioned that play on my records, we're
Right.
friends. We've developed a really strong
Right.
friendship and bond, and I don't take that lightly. It means the world to me.
Right. Gotcha.
So I'm playing with my friends. They happen to be, some of them, the best
Yeah, they
musicians
just
in the
happen to be-
world.
Yeah.
And you know, and by the way, ultimately, you know, when I create, because I produce and arrange, I come in really organized. You know, like I leave room for of course, for their creative input in the collaboration, but
Song.
yeah, absolutely. But they know that I'm gonna have a point of view, that it's not gonna be a mess. The charts aren't gonna be a mess. The songs are gonna actually have melodies, you know, that you walk away singing, hopefully. And
Right.
so it's, you know, it's a good experience for everybody. You know, they enjoy it too, and I really enjoy them. You know, so
I know, but you're still able to go do that. It's not like, come on over to my garage, we're going to record this stuff. You're in Capitol Records, you're in, you know,
Yeah.
Village, you're in these like major studios that and
Yeah.
have, you know, been able to have that budget to go do that kind of stuff, which is again the stuff people dream about. It really
Right.
is.
But by the way, part of that is a lot of those things I've always had a studio. You know, even if it's like a corner
Right.
of my bedroom,
Sure.
you know, with the TAC 3340 tape deck, you know, at the beginning where I learned how to record,
Yeah.
you know, back in Boston. But so even here, this room that I'm in right now, this is my writing and mixing.
Starts.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Well,
But the thing is, I save money by being able to have my own studio to get
Put
these
together.
projects started
Sure.
and ended. You know, I begin them here, I end them here.
okay. But I mean, you know, again, you get Nathan East. I mean,
Yeah, yeah. I love playing with Nathan. It's incredible. I mean, Nate was in my TV band. You know,
that's what I'm saying. It's like
Yeah.
the biggest of the big. I mean, you know, who hasn't played with Claptons and Phil Collinses and I mean, and that's your circle, and
It
that
is.
You have a lot to be. You're blessed. Talent is one thing, but again, there's lots of talented people that could never ever get to that point because it just didn't work that way. You know, for
Right.
whatever reason. So it's, you know.
But I'll tell you another thing. Like I feel like I've taken sort of the long, slow road. You know, it's been I mean, I've had like, I got my Billy Preston tour in the first year and then came back and I thought, here we go. And I couldn't get arrested. That's why I started a band. You know, so the thing is, one of the things that I am proud of is that I've developed a reputation of people knowing that I respect and take care of the people that work for me and with me. You know, and even if it's detrimental to me, like, you know, even like doing TV shows, sometimes you have to like, or touring, you know, Wilson Phillips, or you got to stand up for the band. If I'm the music director,
Right.
even if I take the heat, I got to stand up for the people that are playing with me and for me.
You touched
And
on
I'm willing
something,
to.
but you touched on something that, like, the minute, because I've had those moments in my life,
Yeah.
a lot of them too. Like all of a sudden, like things are like escalating, and you think it's like, okay, the wheels going, and like, but it's not nonstop. When
Right.
it's over, you're on to the next thing if you're lucky.
If you're lucky.
If you're lucky.
And I got advice from, I forget who it was, but it was another A-lister musician years ago when like I was down in one of the valleys. Yeah, like after it's like, wait a second, I was touring with a major like the Fifth Beatle.
Don't you know,
You know,
what? Yeah.
what's going on? How come I'm not like getting called
Yeah,
for
right.
the next audition? I didn't expect it to be handed to me, but
Right.
and I wasn't even hearing about the auditions and you know, one of my or being on TV and then not being on TV and then
Sure.
getting another show
Sure.
and the thing is, what was pointed out to me was that to not worry about, you know, when there's slow times. It's changed because
know,
it's
but
mostly slow times
Tell
now
yourself that when you're living it.
right. But he said it's the nature of being an artist, and they're use that time. He goes, don't waste that time. Don't make yourself sick. Still hustle. Still go, you know, get out there and go listen to bands and do all that stuff. But use that time to recover, to take care of yourself, to write, to practice, to improve your craft. To learn another instrument, go learn banjo, add mandolin, add
You're living in
cavaquinho.
the moment, though. You're just kind of look. I remember times when I first, you know, this was really in the early days when we still had actually wired telephones,
Mhm.
and picking up that phone to see if the dial tone was working,
Right.
'cause it wasn't ringing.
But
It
I've
wa-
done that, Peter. It's,
It
I've
wasn't
done that.
I'm going, hey, you know what? I just want to make sure it's working because nobody's calling me. Because it was
Right.
the beginning, you know, I'm dialing out, but nobody's dialing in because I showed up to LA and, you know, people, I mean, and I'm very blessed again because I've had people that when I moved here, I started making friends ahead of time because I
Right.
was regionally touring, but I was meeting people. I met Greg Fillinganes back during the Michael Jackson's Bad tour
Right.
because I grew up in Pensacola where they were that Civic Center became a really popular rehearsal place for
Right.
the big stage, like when they're moving all the
Right, for
big
tourists to
stuff
start.
in. Instead of going to CBS or Fox or Sony Studios and using a soundstage, they were
Right.
coming to Pensacola. It became really popular,
Yeah.
and they were trucking it in and figuring it out, and they'd be there for 3 months.
Right.
And so I started meeting people, you know, and I
Mhm.
go, hey, I'm going to be moving out to LA, and so I was gathering up my old thing.
Right.
But just because you're here, it's like, hey, yeah, great. But they're trying to hold their own at the same time.
Yeah. Look, it has really changed. And even for the people that are the AA listers, the ones who are always on tour with somebody, which none of us are right now,
Right.
or, you know, getting the calls for Emmys, Grammys, every major artist, it's slowed down for everybody.
Sure.
So, and in every genre, you know, pop music, rock, punk, you know, hip hop, maybe not hip hop, you know, but certainly, you know, in the contemporary jazz and all that stuff, you know, it's leaner. It's leaner for everybody.
Very, very.
So, yeah.
I mean, it is. But that's the thing. But here's the thing. Look.
And now we're in COVID. And the thing that's really remarkable to me
Yeah.
is that we're all not just out on the street homeless right now. You know,
Hard
because
to know. I can't keep up with everybody, but
well, not
it-
everybody. I mean, a lot of people are
hard.
moving.
It's hard.
People are moving out of New York City. They're moving out of LA, selling houses, downsizing.
Sure.
But the thing is, it's, you know, somehow through the grace of God and all our being tenacious, everything that we do, we're survivors. Somehow we're all making rent or mortgages and keeping food in the fridge right now. And it's kind of miraculous. I don't even know how we're all doing it. But,
Wow.
but most of us are we're figuring it out, and it's not easy, you know, and add to that, just trying to not get sick, you know, to stay healthy.
That too.
So it's a rough time.
Look, okay. See, this is what I knew. I knew this night was going to be because there's so much history, you know,
Yeah.
going on. Okay, so we got to fast forward now because
Okay.
otherwise
Yeah.
it's going to be a 4-hour show.
No,
Well, the thing is, I don't have a producer right now, so it doesn't really matter. Nobody's like going like, come on, move next.
Right.
But that's okay because this is good stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's fast forward. You made it through all this time. Here we are. You started this, and this is what caught even more because the social media, Facebooks, YouTubes, Instagrams, this and that. Terry, you went on to starting. Not only do you do what you do, and you're still doing that, but you found the time and said, "Hey, I want to start a podcast."
Right.
Which is, I'm telling you, the minute you start putting audio in, if you want to complicate your life, put visual and audio and visual together, then you're going to live my nightmare. But
I've done some of that too, so
Okay,
I know.
yeah, it's-
Deep respect to you.
yeah. I'm going to tell my creditors that.
Right.
So the thing is, so you got a podcast, Making It with Terry Wollman, because you
Yeah.
have access to every friggin' greatest musicians in the world, and they'll more than likely say, "Sure, Terry, I'll come on your show."
Yeah, around the world, it's true. You know, I interviewed Jean-Luc Ponty in Paris from his living room. You know, and I was
There you go.
here in this room.
There you go.
It was
And
amazing.
technology has changed,
Right.
And that was what we were talking about now. Like the new lead singer for Boston, did a song, a tribute on YouTube, and got picked up after the unfortunate mess that whole thing. It's a different world now. I
Yeah.
mean, I remember when I first moved here, seeing these long lines for Ozzy and Cher. She'd do these cattle calls,
Right.
and
I've
it
done
was all bullshit. It was all pre-staged bullshit
Right,
because they
right.
knew who they were going to take.
They
But
already had the drummer.
they
Right.
made it because it was PR, the way it was. But now it's like this is a whole new world. So you're doing Making It with Terry Wollman. Let's talk about your podcast. Uh-oh. I just lost you. Hello. Uh-oh, you froze. Can you believe this? It's a good pose, though. I just lost Terry Wollman. Why, people? Why? Oh, my.
Okay. I'm
Hey,
still
there
here.
you are. Hey, you're back. Thank God.
Yeah, good.
Okay, so let's see
All right.
these. Now that tell you this shit happens,
Yeah, it does. It
and we're
does. It's
hardwired.
life.
And we're hardwired.
I'm hardwired. Yeah.
I know, but you're pixelating on me. Okay. Take a deep breath. Maybe you're not. Maybe you're. Okay. All right. So let's talk about your podcast. How the hell did your podcast start, and what are you doing with it?
Well,
And where you at?
let me work my way back. Let me start with the announcement, because tomorrow I'm launching on a new network, which is called Fireside Chat, and it's Fireside, and it's and I'm doing my first podcast on this new network tomorrow, and then it's going to be every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Pacific time, and Fireside is basically created by created and launched by two people, a young woman named Fallon Fatme, who had this idea. She comes from technology, and she partnered with Mark Cuban, and the two of them created this new network, Fireside, which is, and then they came to me. They somebody had introduced me to them.
How do you find Fireside?
Fireside.com or firesidechat.com / Terry Wollman. And I sent you right before we started. I texted you a flyer.
I'll put it out
Yeah.
after.
Which we'll post later.
Yeah, sure. I just can't.
Because we just made the flyer today.
Yeah, I'm just trying to
But
keep you online because I'm losing. You're very pixelated right now. This is
okay.
the pros and cons of technology.
Let me just check my. You want me to check my connection? Let me just double check.
I mean, there's not much we can do about it, whatever
Okay.
it is. But all of a sudden, everything just started getting twirly,
Okay.
and I don't understand it. But keep going. So okay, so you've been podcasting. Where you been?
I have. So anyway, starting tomorrow, firesidechat.com / Terry Wollman. But
Okay.
I wrote this down because I didn't remember. On August 3rd, 2016, I did my very first podcast of Making It with Terry Wollman. The new show is called Making It.
What year?
2016.
Really?
And
You've been doing that long?
Yeah, and we
How
have
have I been?
I don't know. I'm just not paying. You've been busy raising your daughter. You
I've
know,
been
and
yeah,
doing
Yeah,
your
fight-
show.
fighting the good fight.
Yeah, all of us. But my I've broadcast over 150 episodes with some pretty remarkable people. My very first guest was Melissa Manchester, pop artist, singer, songwriter.
Sure.
And then my second guest for episode 2 were Alan and Marilyn Bergman, which was absolutely incredible. The major hit songwriters. And at that point, then I wanted to set the bar high as I could. So when I started calling people to say, I want to be on, I'd like you to be a guest on my show, and they'd say, who else has been on your show?
Right.
I had those two people to say, and they were interesting shows, because they're fascinating people.
Right.
So I basically have been doing that for the last 3.5+ years. And then and had this wonderful experience. By the way, you can hear all of those episodes at entertalkmedia.com. the network that I was on, or Spotify, iHeart, iTunes, anywhere that you can listen to podcasts. Just go listen to Making It with Terry Wollman, and then the new show's called Making It.
See, I got people right now. Just Georgia, she already looked up your firesidechat.com thing.
Yeah. So sign on, and it's gonna be it's basically cutting edge technology. It's gonna be interactive, just like your show. People can join us live and get involved, and I'm really excited about it. So we launch tomorrow.
Good. All right. So tomorrow.
But I've had I'm a curious person. I know you are as well, and so I've kind of had a front row seat to being able to ask questions to people who I think are amazing, having amazing lives and not wasting their lives. I don't mean that they're just famous, but they're creating remarkable lives and doing their best to stay healthy along the way. Not just about the work, but
no, I get it, but but it's part of the whole. We got everybody. I mean, I got friends, and so do you. And a lot of them have okay, enough is enough, and it's I want to live now. But we were a lot more bulletproof when we were younger. Let's face it.
Absolutely.
So it's just part of the whole deal. I mean, I have no regrets. I mean, but it's getting hard now to just. We were talking about this yesterday about walking and stuff like that. It's just trying to get a little bit of something in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's not that easy. I mean,
it's not, but you have to do it. I have to do it. I think it's really important for all of us. So, so that's how I started a podcast. It was always not always. It was something I had been thinking about. I thought it'd be cool to host a show, maybe an NPR show or something. Just because one of the things that for me, and I think for you too, because I've seen your show, it's also. Well, I'm still here, right? I still said yes.
Yeah,
right. Some of it is about mentoring. It's about sharing information, about what it takes. Even the questions you're asking me, it's like, how are you getting by?
Stories. Yeah, we share stories.
How are you right? You share the story, and everybody has a story. And I think one is I want to share the stories of people that I respect. Many of them who are my friends, some who are not, who are just doing fascinating things with their life. Not all in music too. Some actors, some business people, CEOs of companies. I found out the CEO, Tony Van Veen, CEO of Discmakers, was a punk drummer. That was his thing. He came up as a punk rock drummer.
Sure.
And now he's runs one of the biggest, companies in the music business right now, and he's a really cool guy. I met him at where we were both mentoring for Taxi, and an A&R group, right? So we were there and we met, and
Taxi. I forgot that was I used to see that in the Music Connection magazine.
Right, but that's one of all the side hustles that we all do. I worked for Taxi for a couple of years, screening music and giving mentoring, giving feedback, and I was sitting next to some pretty heavyweight people. Like hit songwriters and producers and doing all that stuff. So I think being open to doing things like that is important. But that's how I started my podcast. It was the end of 2016, and there's also some great video podcasts that I've done. For my 100th episode, we went to Capitol Studios and I interviewed Al Schmidt, the legendary engineer producer. Love him.
Yeah.
And we filmed it at Capitol. It was great. So you can find that on YouTube and various places.
See, that's the thing. I think it's all about the stories. I mean, look, since I went live, I mean, my biggest thing started out, Steve Lukather, instead of having a music interview with him, which everybody thinks, and he's pretty big on my YouTube, and he's probably the biggest. Mm-hmm. Looking for another one of the many millions of how he played an E pentatonic, chord, and it's not. Yeah. I talked to him about his personal life.
It's a great interview. I loved it.
You saw it?
I sure did.
Well, absolutely. Thank you. You know what? Because he was so philosophical about everything, and he opened up, and because believe me, I've been in many places with him in the world, and I heard the stories, but I actually got to live them. And he says he's well documented. He was one of those guys who, but God bless him, he's not an idiot. I mean, he's a smart guy, and talented. But the thing was, he opened up enough to say, hey, because he's a rock star, so to speak. He's one of the biggest of the big, but he's human. and we
Sure.
all have problems, and we all go through the same stuff. And most of there you go. We're gonna get to that right after this. I'm getting ready. I'm warming you up right now. So just get
For the kill.
Well, no, yeah. I gotta just come into the web.
Right.
So he said things, but in a very philosophical kind of way. And most people's comments were like, "Wow, I wasn't expecting this, but it's so cool to see this guy talk about normal life, that he's just your average guy." I mean,
That's why I enjoyed the conversation.
Okay, then that's the thing.
Yeah, you guys are two friends talking real about life.
I knew his life, and I'm going, if he'll talk about it, this would be so cool, because people, everybody thinks that just because you're on a stage and this and that, like you don't have their kind of problems, and you do.
Yeah. Right.
And I've watched him twirl many. Before I even knew we weren't even really introduced, I saw him walk up to Andy Browers and just spewing. He just was in one of those moods. You get what you get with Luke. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
So let's talk about Terry now, because again,
before we go in deep, let me just finish this, because you had asked about acoustic guitar playing, and that video, and more show and tell.
Oh, you'll get
this shows up.
It'll show up. There you go. And what is that?
This is Cassini's Last Dance. It's an acoustic album. This is a digital download card that I have. I'm signing them, sending them to people, because nobody can come to a show and buy a CD. So I did this, but I was encouraged. Like, I started this new album that we were talking about.
How long ago?
Got right before COVID.
Okay.
Not Cassini. I had started this other album with.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, we're all over the map. I apologize.
Yeah. That's okay.
I have no structure.
That's all right. Yeah. So I started that, and then we came into a global pandemic.
Yes.
So so I shelved the album that I was doing, because we couldn't get together live to play.
Yes.
And then I was encouraged to make an acoustic album. A really good friend of mine said, "You have a studio. Why don't you do something right now that's different? Why don't you do something that's just not even pop or R&B or jazz or anything, just like an acoustic music album that truthfully falls more closer to new age or healing arts, or there's melodies. It's not Native American flutes and which I love, but it's not meditation music, but it's bringing some beauty with acoustic instruments to the world." And I was asked to consider doing that by a friend, to write a couple of new songs that I could just do here in this room without having to be with anybody else.
Right.
And even re-releasing or remastering some older music or things that I'd never released before. So I put Cassini's Last Dance together and released it, and did this video that you were talking about. And it's been a really cool experience. And while that is out, because it's new and I've been promoting that, and you go to my website, terrywollman.com, and you can get the links to the video you were talking about, and which we did socially distanced, and there were 4 people involved to make a video, and not a village of people, and no budget either. We just did it.
It's different now.
Yeah, but I've gone back now to getting back to recording this record with the band, and I'm doing these virtual remote sessions with people around the country, and I'm gonna have another full band album out later this year. By hook or crook, I'm gonna finish this, and it's coming out really cool because people are available, because everybody's at home.
Yeah, that's been
right
going
now.
on. Well, yeah,
so I've done some really cool, exciting collaborations with some artists that I might not have had access to before, because if no other reason, they wouldn't have been around. They would have been somewhere traveling.
Yeah, everybody's hustling. All the that was the problem, is like when look, in my era, when Pro Tools kicked in, into the point where, like, I was replacing a lot of songwriters' crappy drum tracks.
Right.
And then crappy drum tracks were no more. There was some great, all of a sudden, there was drum sampling got to be, keyboard players got all the work replacing stuff, and there was JR or Kirky B.
Yeah,
Kirk.
I love Kirk.
Like you worked your ass off to stay home and do nothing but session work. I remember Kirky B being at the Village, and he's going, and he was like, he was doing a commercial with the Wojan brothers or something, and he's like, God, it's so good to be like playing with the cats, because I'm so sick of sweetening loops.
Oh,
and, just stupid stuff like that, because the times were changing.
Yeah.
you know, and so then like JR, you know, he's another one. He stayed home and got to be everybody's, you know, recorded musician as he always was, but
Yeah.
then he's had to start jumping out and doing gigs like again that like he didn't really plan on that, you know.
Right,
So who
right.
would you rather have, J.R. Robinson, multi-platinum, 40 years, like the most recorded drummer, or Peter, what the hell's his name, and at a discount, you know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
Going out to play because
Yeah.
times were changing.
Mm-hmm.
Let's
Okay.
let's
So,
skip
let's
real
get
quick.
in.
I'm gonna tough it. This isn't gonna be that bad.
Okay.
Personal life. You're married right now.
Yes.
You recently got married. What, a year ago? Not even.
Yeah, over a year ago.
Oh, over. Time
Yeah,
flies.
a little bit. Almost a year and a half.
Okay, but ever married prior?
Yes.
Oh, see.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, any kids?
No. Forgot
Okay.
to have kids.
Okay, no, not forget because like Greg
Right.
Philgains, as much
Right.
as I knew the man, I had no idea he was married He's been married 4 times.
Yeah.
You know, he's
Yeah.
been on the show.
And he's a dad. Yeah.
But see, it's like you know, we don't talk about this stuff. You
No,
know, it's like
I got married after after we met.
L.A.
You know, after,
or
here in
Miami?
LA. No, here in my I waited.
You
I
were
waited because
Alright.
I didn't want to mess it up. You know,
Okay.
and also I was focused on getting good
right. Me
or
okay.
getting great.
Yes.
You know, and it takes
Career.
a lot of work or it has for me, you
Yes.
know, and you know, just growing a career and everything and just trying to keep it all going. So
Yeah.
but I did get married, and
What
was,
year?
You know, it's funny. I remember the year I got divorced, but not,
You know what? I remember the
but
date.
you know why?
Why?
No, because I was on the road touring with Kev Mo, and I have a poster in my hallway that says 2006, and I just remember that it was a rough year. You know, my heart was breaking, but I was also doing this fantastic tour playing with Kev Mo.
Okay, so this is after, and then we just again we're different.
So I was married for 5 years. So
Okay.
2001.
5 years seems to be the number.
We were together for 5 years before that.
Yeah.
You know, about 4 or 5 years, but I was married for 5 years.
Okay.
Yeah, and
Wow. Again, you think you know a guy.
yeah, and then
This is what we do.
you know, I was in it, and but that it was
It's hard.
yeah.
You managed to maintain and at least hold on to your hair. God bless you.
Yeah, not my house, but
I
my
lost-
hair.
You know, my mind just like the you know, it's
Yeah.
not easy. But I'm alive. I had to keep looking at the bright.
Right,
You know,
right. Yeah.
because it's a tough one. I mean, it's emotional. It's you know, it's like I don't think anybody gets married to go, well, you know, I'm gonna get married, but if I get divorced, what the hell?
No. This was like I wanted to do it once
Right.
and do it right.
But
My parents were divorced.
right.
I didn't want to have a kid and then put them through a broken home. I felt like I wanted to make sure I had the tools, like
Right.
the emotional tools.
But here's the thing: no matter how much you think you got it together, look, right?
Right.
It's just life. It's
Right.
just life.
And also, two people need to want to be in the marriage, not just
You
one.
got that right. It takes
Right.
2 people to get married, only one to get divorced.
That's right.
You know, and it took me about 45 minutes to an hour to get married, and it took me almost 3 years to get divorced.
Yeah.
You know, and only I had a child involved, so that was that.
Right.
This is why I'm in this seat right now. I mean, it was all about that. I've broadened my horizons because I want to share stories. Because look, it just like we're talking about this. If anybody calls in and says, "Hey, I want to talk about my life," I'm in about
Right.
that.
Yeah.
But the thing is, it's a big world out there. I just like sharing stories, just like
too.
this about the business. I thought about it. I'm going, you know what? We should talk about this because we go way back, and I was curious. I've
Yeah.
just learned things tonight that I never knew. Not that it's a bad thing, but I mean it's a good thing. It just
Yeah.
made it that much better. You
Absolutely.
know? And it's like we're not going anywhere after this. It's like we're going to keep on living on. Who knows? I mean, it tightens the circle even more. But
Yeah.
the thing is, I had no idea. I wanted to know things, but even though you think you know somebody, you know,
Mhm.
it's like, hey man, how you doing? You're in the studio, this and that. It's like, okay, got to go. See you later.
Right. Yeah.
You know? I mean, you know, I didn't know, and you know, when you're going through that kind of crap, I'm sure you leaned on some of your closest friends because
Absolutely.
you
Yeah,
have
I did. And you know, one of the things that was such a blessing was getting the call from Kev Mo just saying, I'm on the road with Bonnie Raitt, and I was wondering if you might want to join my band this year. You know, and be a multi-instrumentalist, which I'd never done
a utility guy.
outside of the studio. Yeah, play
Sure.
slide and mandolin and keyboards and certainly electric and acoustic, and so it was really a great challenge to do, and I really I loved it. I absolutely loved it. Best tour I've ever been on in my life, and because of the two leaders, Kevin Moore and Bonnie Raitt. Kev Mo. But the thing is, one of the best things for me, just from a healing point of view, besides playing music,
that's important.
Well, absolutely. And when your job is to play music and to stay healthy, that's kind of a really cool job. And for me, it was great because I just immersed myself in that. And the thing is, when we would be on the road on the bus, a lot of times I would sit in the front of the bus, in the shotgun, and basically, I didn't realize it until I just sort of observed it happening to me, that I was looking forward and not looking back. In other words, you're being physically in a bus, you're being propelled, across the country,
right?
And you see everything in front of you, and then and you're leaving everything behind you.
Bus driver.
Yeah, but it was like metaphorically what was going on was also kind of created a really good shift of perspective for me.
Well, again, your head has to be in the right place because you can easily break down and ruin your career just from your divorce because you could sink yourself.
Absolutely.
You drink yourself under the table and they're going, I don't want to work with this guy. This guy's, he's freaking losing it.
Right.
Let me ask you one question that we're going to move on because I appreciate you touching on this because this is what it's all about. It's like we're all just people. Who was your go-to people when, anybody, like who did you lean on? I mean, like just family, friends. I mean, because a lot of family don't want to get even, much.
My family was really supportive, but I wouldn't say that they were, they weren't the people to lean on for guidance.
Right. They worry more about,
they were worried about me and they felt bad and, and all of that, which is very important. A couple of friends, including Kev Mo, we were friends too. So, and he was the one who suggested to me that I might want to start thinking about taking my wedding ring off. That kind of a friend.
I've had that conversation too.
That kind of a friend,
right. Why are you wearing it? It's over.
Yeah.
Stop.
Yeah. And, so, and I'm grateful for that. And so a couple of really good friends, female and male, for both perspective. And I had I went and got a really good therapist too. And to get through the disappointment and the anxiety that came up with that and the overwhelm.
Did you like the therapist?
I love him.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Sometimes you just don't know what you get. You know what I mean?
Right. I got very lucky. It wasn't my first time having an experience with therapy, but it was, so I had put my toe in the water at various points in my life to deal with trauma and things, that come up, that need to be talked about and figured out. But the thing is, I think, for me,
right.
But this was the best experience. I just got so fortunate in being introduced to this therapist. He was great. We really peeled the onion.
I've met some therapists that are more screwed up than the people they take care of.
I've met a lot of them.
And you're paying $150 an hour, and I say that a lot. But there's good and bad everything. Good and bad music deals. Good and bad everything.
Yeah. So great experience.
Listen. So awesome. Thank you for my people because this is stuff that, again, it needs to be touched on because it doesn't matter who you are, and I always bring that out. But here's what I've got for you. This is a little surprise.
All my ex-girlfriends from junior high school.
Yeah. So I've got a little footage.
Okay.
Of one of your don't ask me how I got it. Okay. But I've got some footage of one of your early bands when you started out. Okay. And the thing is, though, unfortunately, whoever was taking this stuff, you don't really see you. But you can see the headstock of your guitar. The thing, But the thing is, there's some things that go down in bands, and when that happens, I want you to explain it because you were there. I'm pretty sure you were there.
Okay.
And during while it went down, I can hear your playing, and when you played, it started like drifting off into the horizon. But these are the typical things, and when you're starting out in bands, now look at your head is spinning. I could tell.
I can't wait. I have
So-
no idea.
Oh yeah, so I couldn't blow it up. It was very hard to decipher. But I have a clip because again, this is old.
Okay.
But I have a clip, and it was told to me that this is so some things went down between you know how it is with bands and stuff playing in your first bars and things like that. But I want after you see this, I want your reaction. I want you to explain to me what actually went down during this, and okay,
Can't
hey,
wait.
don't mention it, okay? Yeah,
Right.
this is how I roll. But anyway, so I'm going to play this right now. So this
Okay.
is a typical one of again. I don't know how old you were or whatever,
Okay.
but you got the bass player. So check this out and tell me what actually happened here, okay? Because I got a pretty good view of it. But here you go.
Okay.
So
That's a rough memory for me.
okay. But I mean, apparently, like something. I guess the singer, little blonde dude, whoever you had, was cocky, and he had a beer in his hand, and
Uh-huh.
and he wasn't happy with the drummer's tempo. Something
Yeah.
was told but I can hear it now. I don't know because you were too busy taking this in, but listen to your playing. I'm gonna play it one more time. I want you to see how like everybody started and like your bass player. I don't know what his name was. You probably know him, but listen to how you
Yeah.
faded away because you were in oh fuck mode. Okay.
By the way, I've never been really big on people bringing alcohol onto the stage while we're playing.
This
is a
was a
good
long
example.
time. This was a long time ago. Don't try this at home, kids. But
Right.
here, check it out one more time.
That's hysterical.
Care to elaborate?
No comment.
Dun, 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 dun,
Yeah,
dun,
you could kind of hear the guitar slowing down a little bit.
yeah.
Just so that I really don't have to explain this later
Yeah. To who?
to anybody.
Nobody watched the show anyway. What's the difference?
I actually really wish I was there when that happened too. I've seen that.
I'm sorry. I
I know
was-
we're joking.
it was
No,
sent
it's
to me by some of my musician friends, and I saw that, and I go, "Wow, this is the perfect time. I'm going to bring you back to the roots."
It's
And
great.
I
It,
want to
look, it
look-
could have been me. We've all done those gigs.
Oh, well, we can't tell because it was only a headstock, but the look on your face watching it, priceless. Priceless. All right.
Yeah. Well,
Listen.
we've all had some experiences. Fortunately, that was not mine. But
The,
yeah,
the reason I love it so much is because I can relate. I
right.
grew up in the South, and I can relate. But I mean, you
That's
don't need
funny.
to be off that. Yeah. Don't mention it. Okay. All right. Listen,
Yes.
Terry Wollman, amazing as I figured it was going to be. Tell everybody where they can find you because I got about 6 minutes. We're going an hour and a half as opposed to an hour.
Wow. Okay.
Well, see how fast time flies.
No, I know that. It's my show as well.
Yeah, and
It's
I don't
an hour
care.
long, and it's a blink of an eye.
And that's the thing. Nobody tells me, but I try to. I go if I'm going to go over an hour and a half is good, but good stuff. I mean,
I'm just saying, wow, because I didn't eat dinner yet.
well, I don't eat dinner before I do the show. Believe it or
You
not,
did after?
I do. Only because I remember Mike Picaro at one point going like, "Aren't you going to eat?" And he's like, "No." And I go, "Why not?" And I was again way younger, and I could pig out
Right.
and never bother me. Now,
Right.
if I eat, it's like. Ugh.
Right. Yeah.
So I don't even eat before the show because I'll feel bad. I'd rather
Yeah.
eat after. So there you go.
So, where can people find me? Was the
Yes,
question.
absolutely.
Well, first of all, terrywollman.com.
That's easy.
terrywollman.com is
Mhm.
the portal to everything that I do. But I do want to, since you asked, I would really love for everybody to go to my YouTube channel, which
got a
is
YouTube channel.
youtube.com/terrywollman.
Terry Wollman.
And please subscribe.
Yeah.
And
American people.
and subscribe to Peter G as well. And here's why.
Easier
And
said than done.
no, I'm telling you, it was something you were talking about it a little bit at the beginning of the show,
Yeah.
and it's like I wanted to mention and encourage everybody, if you find this conversation and all of your conversations or mine on my podcast interesting,
Yeah.
it's a really simple way to support artists right now.
Yeah.
And it doesn't cost anything. You don't get spam. Nothing happens. You just hit the subscribe button
I know.
and nothing changes, except it helps
Right.
not only promote, but it helps monetize
Sure.
our YouTube channel. So so please go to
Terry
youtube.com/terrywollman
Terry Wollman.
and also
Not
to yours,
flat out Terry Wollman. And
Terry Wollman.
there you go.
Yeah, really simple. And my Instagram is at Terry Wollman,
Sure.
Twitter at Terry Wollman. So, and
Yeah.
again, the new show is called Making It, and you would find it at firesidechat.com/Terry Wollman. And same thing, go sign up and join us. And because I've got new music coming out, I'm always working on things and always keep it. It's like spinning plates.
No,
you know?
a lot of balls in the air. Believe me.
Right.
Okay. See, here's the thing.
Yeah.
Tonight I said you asked me about phone calls. Can you take phone calls?
Yeah.
I forgot. We got so enthralled. I think we covered enough to where even if people wanted to know something, I
We
think
answered it.
I forgot. I just flat out forgot to open up the phone lines because I got a lot out of this. After 30 years, April will be 30 years I moved here.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Cool.
And the thing is, I've known you 29 and a half years.
Yeah.
And I learned something tonight, which was really great. And I thank you for it. I don't know, again, the world, we kept talking about it, and then life makes you busy, and it's like, yeah, all good intentions, but we finally made it. And again, if whatever you need, this show will live on. This is the beauty of it.
Yeah, great.
Believe me, it goes into reruns, and I share it, and I push the shit out of it, and make little clips, and whatever. A great show, and thank you.
We get residuals for that, right?
What? Oh, wait, hang on.
I'm sorry, I lost you.
Yeah,
Your audio cut out.
Yeah, staticky. Let me tell you, I don't even monetize my YouTube channel. I don't even care. I want people to watch, because for you, it's a different story. For me, it's like production, big, go stream onto something else. It wasn't worth it to me. I just want people to watch, and I go.
But I do too. That's really the main thing. Like the Cassini's Last Dance video is up there that we did.
Yeah.
There was another video we didn't even talk about, but everybody can find it on my YouTube channel.
Sure.
I co-wrote and produced a song and video called "Beautiful Sound of Us" during the presidential election that we just had, to inspire and encourage everybody to vote.
Oh, right.
So there are important things that I want people to see. I want to share with you, and same thing with your show.
That's the thing. Because one thing leads to another. I'm not. Right. Let me tell you something, and I'm sure probably with you too, because it's never been about the money with me. I need money, but it's not about that. It's about the love of what we do.
Right.
We all started that as kids. We loved playing music. And again, before I let you go, I just want you to one more time just get a grasp and check out your old band and make sure that you're not forgetting something, okay? Just one more time, because I think maybe you've forgotten this, but it might come back. You may have blocked it out of your head like a mental thing.
It might have actually really been me.
You might need to talk to your therapist about it. I'm not really sure, but the thing is, I want you to check out one more time, because it may come back to you, and we'll talk about it later. But here. See, there's your headstock. I thought it said Valley Arts on the end of it. I'm pretty sure.
Might have been.
All right.
One more thing that I don't think you know about me, but I ended up studying martial arts for over 20 years. And one of the things karate and jiu-jitsu, but one of the things that one of the most valuable things that we learned is how to not get in a fight.
Not get to a fight. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, and also how to stop a fight.
Right.
You know, as
Well,
it
you were
starts,
way
so
over the end. You were having.
I was ready.
The song needed to keep going, but it got when the bass player started pooping out, and it was like I just wanted to bring that up just in case.
Yeah, that wasn't me.
Okay.
I'm sticking. That's my story, and I'm sticking
Well,
to
you know
it.
what? Yeah, the problem is that we can't verify. So
That's good point.
yeah, so you're cannot confirm nor deny.
Well,
All right.
there are some other videos to balance that one out as well that you can see on my YouTube channel.
Yes, we can go do that. Terry Wollman, thank you,
Peter.
thank you.
Yeah.
This has been even better than I knew. I always have a hunch,
Yeah.
but great show. And again, I welcome you anytime there's anything that you want to do. I mean, all you gotta do is say. We just keep crossing paths, but everybody's busy moving in with their own stuff.
Right.
So it's kind of busy. JR, I want the JR because JR was the first drummer on Modern Drummer magazine that I ever saw, and I wanted to talk to him because I've known him for a long time too, kinda, but it's just like and life keeps going on.
It does. People are busy. People are trying to survive. And
I didn't know whether I didn't want to go like total music show and things like that. I just talk about life, but we're talking about life. This was trying to be a musical life that I think people will find interesting.
Absolutely. And by the way, we were talking about marriages and life and everything too. Yeah. I really feel like with Melanie, I got the upgrade. I'm
going to concur on that. In fact, maybe I should have her on the show next time because
she's great.
Seen stuff that probably do not, can't. It's again, touring is quite an experience.
Yeah, it is. We all know.
But anyway, God bless you and thank you, man.
It's great to see you. Thanks for inviting me on your show. I
Virtual
really
hug. It is what it is. All right, so that's it. I'm going to push you all this week. Feel free to take anything you want from the whole deal anytime. It's always going to be up on the Peter G Show YouTube channel. But again, thanks for being you because, again, if we were not who we are, we would not be here right now. It's that simple. So
absolutely.
Obviously, people move on and never talk to each other. And see, I'm getting a lot of great stuff. People are digging you. So
good. Thank you.
Yeah, that's it. All right, brother. I'll talk to you down the road. We'll just I won't talk. I want to go and bring it out. Wait till I was going to talk about makeup tips, but anyway, that's it. Thank you. See you later. All right.
Great to see you. Thanks again.
See you later.
You.
Yep. Bye. Terry Wollman, cool, right? He's like this guy Terry's the guy, but it's not like he's there, but there's guys that are in the media and all that, and big rock stars and this and that. He's a rock star, believe me. He's a rock star. And I was going to just say, it's funny because we were talking about being on camera. From being on TV, you have makeup artists, you have all this kind of stuff. COVID, I don't have makeup artists, I don't have anything, and there's not a whole lot to work with right here. But the lighting, it's bright in here. We're talking about stuff, and he's like telling me what makeup, what powder he uses and stuff like that when he's got to do stuff like this. He goes, we won't talk about it on camera. I'm like, no, we should talk about it on camera. Why not? Because I've had to resort to go and just try to tone it down, and I know nothing about makeup. The first time ever getting makeup in a chair was in 1985 doing Star Search, and believe me, I look smooth. I mean, she freaking made me look flawless. Again, not a whole lot to work with here. All right, people. Hope you enjoyed the show. I really do. It's a long show. But you know what? A worthy show of doing. To me, it doesn't matter, We talk about good stuff. Someday I'll have to get cut down and cut the shows down, and they'll structure me and this and that. But that's the way it is. I want to thank Terry Wollman. You can find Terry Wollman at Terry Wollman YouTube, Terry Wollman Facebook, Terry Wollman Instagram, Terry Wollman. Simple. Really easy. Really easy. I want to thank everybody for watching the Peter G Show. We're here every Sunday night live on YouTube's, Facebook's, this and that. You can comment. You can write after the show. But if you really want to comment during the show and things like that, you need to make sure you're on the official Peter G Show page on YouTube and the official Peter G Show page on Facebook. I can't read the other ones until after. I can't see them. They just won't allow. Let me tell you something about the people that I put on my shows, so far to date. If I say they're friends and things like that, they're friends. I'm a very, very lucky guy. And I don't mean lucky. If you do well in life or you do good in life, I don't mean well. If you're a decent human being, you accumulate, you attract people that are decent human beings. I don't have asshole friends. They're not friends. I have really, really, I'm very, very proud of that. My daughter, sometimes I talk about people, I go, I can't tell you everybody I know. There's just too many. But I do know a lot of people. And I'm very thankful for that. It's quite a circus. Next week, I'm going to try to call St. Patrick. I don't know if those of you who've watched the show through the years, I've had St. Patrick on the show for a little bit. Last year, he was not happy. Last year, St. Patrick was really, really pissed off because there was no St. Patrick's Day. So I'm going to try to get him on the phone and see if there's any difference that's going to happen this week with St. Patrick's Day. I appreciate everyone for tuning in. I want you to share, and please go click on the Peter G Show channel on YouTube and just hit the subscribe button. One click, and that's it. You're in. You don't have to fill out nothing, and it doesn't hound you or anything. I just want to build up the YouTube channel. I've had it for years, never pushed it. I used it as a storage bin. Now I want to start building it. I'm again, better late than never. I want to thank Bolt Energy. Bolt Energy, electrify your senses. Bolt Energy, cleaner energy drink, no preservatives. I thank Bolt Energy for allowing me to be here, helping me be here. If you can't find Bolt Energy, go to www.drinkboltenergy and ask the Bolt Energy people where they can find it. They're growing, they're new, and I like the way it tastes. It's all natural. It doesn't get you all cranked up and then make you crash real hard, okay? That's basically it. Again, my sincere thanks to Terry Wollman for coming on. And I'll talk to you guys. We'll be here next week. I want to thank everybody for watching. Comments, you can comment through the week. Just share, people. I'm telling you. Someday we're going to look back at all this and go, you remember when? We went over an hour and a half. But that's life. Life is full. All right? Love you guys from the bottom of my heart. I have some of the most sincerest people, fans, lurkers. I can't get to all of you, but if you leave me messages, I'll answer you back. Trying to get back to phone calls, that's a little bit difficult, and I apologize. I told you. My closest friends, I can't find the time to talk to some of them because life is full right now. It's a hustle. When I have 100 people working for me, I might have more time, but right now it's a lot dependent on me to bring this to you. And I love what I do, and I love you for watching what I do. All right? So again, from the bottom of my heart, I love you. Stay safe. Be kind. Don't be an asshole. We got plenty of those, but don't take any shit from anybody either. I mean, you got to stand your ground at times, but try to be kind. We forget. We get numb. All right? This is a world that we want to bring our children up. That's my biggest goal. I want your children to play nice with mine. And that's what I bring her up to be. But again, I'm very, very grateful. Love you guys more than anything. See you later.
Marriage. What sparked that divorce for you?
He hit middle age.
Honey boo boo. Ah, honey boo boo. She can do it, I can.
Talk to you again down the road, okay? You're blessed.
Yeah.
He's on the line right here if you don't know. Just letting you know.
Freaking hate and have to go through the grind and just punching in and punching out.
This ain't good.
began, you know, a really incredible run.
Peter G Show, Peter G Show, divorced and single.